Think about it, my tech lead said in an irritated voice. I was taken aback and a bit confused. What was the problem? I had only asked a question about our technical setup that I needed to know for the task I was working on. He was the tech lead, and I was sure he knew all about it. I was just a junior dev. How was I supposed to know how to understand our complex system? I shrugged it off and went back to my confusing task. Maybe he was just too busy to help today. I had already reached out several times that day with questions. But why was he so irritated with me? I couldn't help but feel a bit hurt, like I'd been bonked on the head just for asking an innocent question. This is the story of me several years ago as a junior dev on one of my first projects. It's also the story of one of the best lessons I've learned about working as a software developer. It took a few years to really understand why my tech lead had been so annoyed with my questions that day. It was not because I didn't know enough about our tech stack to do my job. It was because I wasn't doing my job. Software developers are paid to think really hard about problems. It's not easy work, and there's no manual that will explain to you everything you need to know for every use case you encounter on a project. Every app, every system architecture is different, with its own gotchas, outdated plugins, and special requirements. This is because no two businesses are exactly the same, or have the same development history. Software developers are there to figure out how to solve these different business problems using code and technology. So every day brings new challenges and puzzles to solve. My mistake was this. As soon as I was assigned one of these new puzzles to solve and ran into something I didn't understand, I reached out immediately to my tech lead for an explanation, before I had properly thought it out on my own. And he could tell I hadn't thought it out. The truth is, maybe he had the answer, or maybe he would have also had to think about it for a while himself. But the task was assigned to me, so it was my job to do the initial thinking, researching, and even trying out a proof of concept on my own before asking for help. Of course, as a junior dev, I usually got stuck pretty early on in that whole process, and wouldn't know what to do next. But I found that over time, as I started to really sit with problems on my own and get as far as I could before reaching out for help, things really began to change. My programming skills advanced really fast. I felt more confidence in my abilities to reason through tough problems. I got more respect from my team because they could tell I was making a good effort on my own, and even though I still had a lot to learn, they could trust me with tasks. Ultimately, as a junior dev, I wasn't expected to be able to solve all of the problems on my own. No one should expect that of a junior. But I was expected to be persistent enough to dig in and get as far as I could on my own and learn as much as I could in the process. After that, I could approach my team, show them what I found out, and give an informed explanation about where I was stuck. If your tech lead is spoon-feeding you answers or explanations, you'll never develop the essential thinking skills that are needed to really advance as an engineer. Being stuck or feeling totally lost can be super frustrating. But the funny thing that I've come to understand is, when you're struggling that much, it's usually also when you're learning the most. Stick with it and push through that enough times, and at some point, you'll find that you are a senior developer, encouraging your more junior teammates to do the hard thinking for themselves. Thanks for watching. I'm Lindsay, and I'll see you next time.